Hey, so what a great opportunity we have this week to play two teams back-to-back in short time that are both top 25, I think, RPI teams. One at home, one away. Wisconsin's given us fits over the years, and it's a great opportunity for us. As I said last week about this time, when we were getting ready to play Michigan State and getting ready to play Indiana, it's a great opportunity for us to embrace this challenge, grow from it, and build a resume that can put us in postseason play. So we got that part done. Now we got to go do it again and again and again until the season's over. So we had a good practice yesterday, and hopefully we'll have a good one today, and we'll be ready. I think we're healthy. We're going to be as ready as we can be. But Wisconsin's a bit of a anomaly because they've been so good for so long, doing the exact same thing over and over again against us, against a lot of teams, and they're a tough one to get. They've been really good at last second shot clock, last second game situations, incredibly to break your heart. And so we got to make sure that we do everything we can to put them in those situations or take it away from them at the end. So our kids are focused. Prosperity has not been a friend to us so far this year. When we played well, we have not lost a little of that edge we need. So we gotta come out there with that aggression that we need, like that angry aggression to go and get a W.
Hey, Coach. Derek was kind of saying after the Indiana game that he's noticed that this team really now kind of enjoys playing on the defensive end as much as the offensive end. Has that really been kind of a change in mentality the last couple of weeks, or have you kind of seen that trending up?
Well, I think just about everybody that ever goes to high school and college does not say, what do you enjoy the most? I enjoy defense. It's just not part of it. And so everybody has to evolve in that area. But I think this team is, and they can talk the talk and do all those things, but I think they start to realize that if I play better defense, we're going to be able to run. I'm going to be on the floor longer. I'm going to be able to do better things, and they enjoy it. So when you have some success playing defense, really playing it at the best, I think that's when it resonates with them that, hey, this is the answer.
John, you guys had a lot of success for most of the game on half, just playing them straight up, basically. Is that something that where you saw like a turning point in the season? You said, well, let's see how these guys can handle it, almost like a test, and then now you have more confidence in your big guys that way?
Yeah, I think that even though we did get in some foul trouble in that game, but that part of it was self-inflicted. But we have to, playing how you played him is we got to have a lot of things in the kitty to be able to play him because he is so good. His numbers are so good at scoring close to the basket, and so between him and then. Nigel Hayes, nobody even talks about him as much anymore, and here is this horse that is as good a player in the country. And so those two are really a matchup problem for every team. And how we play him, I think we're still trying to figure it out. What's the best way to approach playing him in a game? Because he's got that knack for being able to score inside and also really be a good passer.
That gave you some confidence, though, in DJ?
Yeah, I think that we did some different things against Indiana, that we gain some confidence in rotations and how we do that. And then individually, for Mo to play him that well in that game, Mark Donnell as well, that was encouraging for us.
Just to follow up on that, because Northwestern doubled half a lot in it. As much as it affected him, it seemed to affect the residuals of the offense, kind of turning him into a passer and stuff. Did you like what you saw from Northwestern? Because you guys played him straight up more so with DJ, right?
Yeah. I mean, we analytically looked at what the results of Northwestern's double as opposed to ours, and I think we got some options there that we can utilize. But Northwestern went off. They doubled off Nigel Hayes the entire game, and then scrambled back out of it. And so it will be. I think we got to have a lot of ideas in our head, and hopefully we're good at all of them and not, average at all of them. So trying to put it all together, it's going to be a challenge because they're a very smart team. Koenig and Showalter are so smart, and they've been played together so long. I mean, and they got the 2 Final Fours, and most of that guys have played in those big games, so they're really good at it. So you're not going to surprise them, but hopefully we can we can create some turnovers or create some tough twos for them to make as well.
Hey, Coach, has there been any discussion between you and Mo about the way he reacts on the court when fouls are called, whether there's a concern like that he gets any sort of reputation?
I think early in his career, I think it's very, and I don't want to sound like I am being prejudiced here or marking it very European to have a lot of drama on fouls, whether it was soccer, basketball. There just seems to watch, there's a lot of drama. And we've tried to scale that down. But I see that he's trending in the right direction of just playing and not getting so emotionally upset or emotionally drunk by what happens to him in a game. So I think he's on the right path, but we're not going to change for years. What really, you're going to do what you see every day. He's a big basketball fan, so he's been watching European basketball and playing it for a while, and that's my only explanation, because I also had a young man from Germany, Johannes Erberg, was very similar to that. They both were very involved in games and always seemed to be tussling or something in the game, and I think it's not indigenous, but it's part of the habits that they form as younger players.
And then as far as what you said in your open, as far as success being an enemy, I mean, is that just a natural thing, or is there any trick with this team
No,
to try to
but
combat that?
I think with most people, and we're no different, good is the enemy of great. And as soon as you do some things good, you start to slack off a little bit. And that's our job as coaches, to make sure they see that, yet you still want to smell the roses a little bit and not just be so that you can never smile. So that's that point that we have to handle as coaches really well with them. But I think that hopefully, between some of our disappointing losses this year, the Ohio State game, but it came after the Indiana win, right? I believe it came right after the Indiana win. Hopefully they've learned some lessons, from that.
John?
You mentioned Wisconsin's consistency and the things they've done well for a long time. What is the biggest key for any team to finish a game against them?
You got it. They're not beating themselves. They're just not going to beat themselves. So you can't beat yourself. And whether it's, I saw when they lost to Nebraska, the kid missed 2 foul shots that possibly could have made a big upset for Nebraska. They have just been able to be so good down the stretch. And most of it is because of the continuity they've had in their program. That their juniors and seniors have a lot of experience by the time they get there. And like no other team in the Big Ten, the continuity is just amazing. Coaching staff, the whole deal. And that's the secret in their sauce right now, that whether it was a guy waiting 5 years to play or a guy that is, as a sophomore is maybe in there and out, he learns how to win. They learn how to win, and they do a great job with it.
The other thing is, you mentioned on the radio getting tangled up once with a ref on the court. Have
Yeah.
you ever had any close calls with players where you had to jump out of the
I don't recall
way?
that. I'm sure there has been. I don't recall that. But I think I'm better off hitting a ref than a player, I think, or running into a ref than a player, because they're not the size. I would not like to run into some of the big guys that are out there right now. I was watching the Purdue game last night, and and the big Ed from Rutgers. I don't want to run into those two. I don't think they'll be shooting threes over by me, but that wouldn't have a good ending. But no, I don't recall it, but the sidelines are usually deeper everywhere. And I can see that could always be a problem in a place like Indiana.
Right over here with Kevin.
John,
Where?
back here, I'm back here.
Okay.
Glad we found each other there.
Yeah.
This day and age, there's so many freshmen who come in and make impacts right away, but Derek is a senior. He's been through all that, and the way he's playing right now, what's it mean to have a senior who's playing that well for you right now, leading your way?
I would disagree with your first statement. There's very few freshmen that come in and make an impact. Very, very few across the country. If you did the math on that, it would be probably 1 in 10 are impact players. It's more common not to be. When we make a lot about that, that's why we have a lot of big transfer issues, is because everybody in their end of their freshman year, if they're not making an impact, they want to go somewhere else. It's really hard to do. But I've had many seniors, Jordan Morgan being one of them, right, that in their senior year, all of a sudden, it all starts to come together. And it's different, the different times that people sort of get it. Or it just comes to them. It's not like they've been fighting it. It just comes to them because of a lot of repetitions. So I don't know when you learned your multiplication tables or how many times it had to do compared to the classmate next to you, but when you get it, you're not gonna forget it. And that timetable is important. Derek sort of pieced those things all together now.
What's that mean to you as a coach to see him, for this all come to fruition for him as a senior?
Well, in order to be that, like you said, he's allowed himself to be coached. He's made sure that he prioritized his skill set and growing. He's prioritized winning. That it means a lot. It's really what we do. It's not the trophies and the accolades and all the things that we coach, that people think we coach for. We coach to see a young man like that grow to be where he is right now, because he's going to take this into his professional career. He's going to take this into his life as a husband and a father and a worker, and it's all trending in the right direction for him as well. But a lot like like what we see with Jordan Morgan has done.
Right in the front, James.
John, this morning you mentioned that DJ Wilson, he's kind of seeing the court better as a passer.
Yeah.
Is that something that's just been naturally developing throughout
You
the
know,
season?
there was a play. When he was before he redshirted, he made a little pick and roll pass in an exhibition game that I will always remember. That say, oh, okay, he's got that. Now he didn't see it for another year maybe, but he had that. So those passes he made the other day were really good. If you look at his assist turnovers for a guy at that position, I think it's 2-1, and it's very healthy for him. And so that's the thing where he can grow, into the future. At the next level, he could actually play a 3-man, but he's got to grow a lot of that skill set. But at 6'10", with his length and his shooting ability, he's got a very high ceiling, because he can pass, because he can see. Some guys they're not selfish. They just don't see the court. He's starting to do that.
How much does that open stuff up for other guys when you have a big man that can pass?
Well, it's good, and that's why that's why the first couple of years we were trying to use him as much as we could in the middle, because that guy handles the ball a lot, and he's got to be pretty skilled, and that wasn't necessarily his strength at that time, a skill level. So no, it's really good for him, but it's really good for us as well that he can see some of those plays. There's a lot for him to do to embrace physical contact, to get in there further so that we can use him further. But he used to settle a lot, and he's still settling, but he's working at it.
You mentioned the foul issues with the previous Wisconsin game, and it's always seems like all season's been a balancing act of defending that post up, that physical big man without fouling, but also not letting him by, being physical, I guess, in the right way. Have Mo and DJ grown in that sense, and I guess Mark as well?
I think I think that is something Wisconsin's really good at, drawing fouls. There's Wisconsin and there's the rest of them as far as drawing fouls. And so, you have to learn to play post defense aggressive, but I'm not talking about not fouling. I'm talking about don't have bad fouls, right? Don't have your hands forward when he shoots. Don't put your hand on his back, which is an automatic foul. They got to be good fouls in the post, because you're going to do that. If you're going to be physical, you're going to be called for something. At the same time, as long as you're not putting them to the foul line, and getting them in the 1-on-1 earlier, putting them to the foul line is a positive.
Brendan?
John, this group seems pretty steady. I'm curious, what's the lowest you've seen them this year?
After the Ohio State game, that I went in, I talked to them for a minute, nobody was happy, and when I closed the door, I came back in to remind the big guys that the 3 of them got 2 more rebounds than a dead man. And went back into I just turned around and came back when I saw the sheet. And everybody was at their locker, facing their locker with their head down. Every player was. They weren't looking at their phones. They were looking. All 16 of them had turned and were in their locker and were really disappointed. That's as low as I've seen them right now.
And, but to kind of speak to that, it seems that when after the good games, like even after Indiana, it didn't seem running onto the floor at the end of the game and stuff like that. Is there something to that has, it
That-
seems on.
I hope that what I'm seeing is a team that's on a mission to accomplish some goals. I think that the adversity that we've had in some of our losses has helped us to see that, you know, there's a focus, and just staying on task is more important than anything else.